the individuals. It harms the society. It harms the ummah at large. It harms humanity at large. Human race will not continue if everyone opts to practice celibacy or al-uzubiyya, in Arabic. Al-uzubiyya, yani you don't want to marry, you want to remain bachelor, you don't want to have any family. It is your right not to marry, but it should not be a policy that is practiced by everyone. It should not be something that we all want to have it. But it violates Maqasid al-Sharia, and also it is against the nature of human being. So for today, we have discussed celibacy or sterilization and also contraception. We move to another topic. Yeah, that is plastic surgery. Now, what is plastic surgery? Plastic surgery is where you have some defects in your body, or because of an accident, something happened to your body or part of your body, so you want to remove it, or you want to adjust the appearance of your body, or you want to have a new organ, for instance, implanted in your body. So what is the Islamic perspective? Can you have plastic surgery or not? Can we differentiate between the two types of plastic surgery? That is just to beautify yourself, or like some people do it because they have a problem. They are born with some defects, or because of accident, something bad happened to them, so they want to rectify the problem. They want to adjust the appearance. So here we have two types of plastic surgery. Plastic surgery is divided into two types: cosmetic plastic surgery and reconstructive. Reconstructive means you have to do it because you feel uncomfortable with what you are having. You are born, for instance, with extra fingers. So you are allowed in Islam to remove the extra finger. Some defects in your face, in any organ of your body, so you are permitted in Islam to have a surgery, an operation to reconstruct your body. While the first one is cosmetic, the prime intention, the ultimate objective is just to beautify yourself. You are not happy with what Allah has given you. The body Allah has given you, you are not satisfied with. So you want to undergo the operation. You want to have the surgery just to enhance your appearance. Okay? So we call it cosmetic plastic surgery. Now let us see some of the problems, or why cosmetic plastic surgery in Islam is not allowed. So it is performed to reshape parts of your body that has been structured by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to improve it, or to improve the appearance of the person. This might be in your face, facelift. It might be in any body of your, in any organ of your body. You are not happy with the type of the nose Allah has given you, your skin color. your eye color, the shape of your eye. You want to remain younger, to look younger, or to attempt, for instance, to reverse the signs of aging. All these are haram in Islam. Okay? Why? Because you are not happy with Allah. You are dissatisfied with whatever Allah has given you. The ni'mah Allah gave you, you are not happy with it. There are people who have no eyes at all, born with no eyes, or they have lost their sight. They have some difficulties in smelling because of the defects they are born with in their nose. But you have, mashallah, a complete body, a beautiful shape. Yet you are not happy with it. You want to adjust it. The size of your breast, for example, for the ladies. So all these are haram in Islam because of the following reasons. Number one, it is excessive beautification. So in Islam, to beautify yourself is allowed. You are permitted to enhance your appearance, provided that you are not changing Allah's creation. So number one, or first and foremost, you are always looking for beautification beyond the limit that is given to you, beyond the limit that is permitted. So don't misquote me. To beautify yourself, especially the ladies, is halal in Islam. In fact, it is encouraged. Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. So whatever allows you to beautify yourself, to remain beautiful, to have beautiness or beauty all the time, is encouraged. It is part of our ibadat also to always be jameel. Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty. But to what extent you are looking for beauty and you are beautifying yourself for whom is another question. Because nowadays, sometimes ladies, they beautify themselves for others. At home, you don't see her that attractive to her husband. She's not beautiful at all. She doesn't care about her appearance. But once she steps outside, she beautifies herself. She puts strong perfume, heavy makeup. Why? The intention is not to please her husband. It is not to look beautiful to her husband. That is why in Islam, inside the house, beautify yourselves. Attract your husbands. Once you go outside, you have to minimize the process of beautification. So don't put heavy makeup, strong perfume. This is an element of, a'udhu billah, adultery. The hadith says, أيما امرأة خرجت متعطرة ومرت بجماعة فكأنما هي زانية. Any woman who goes outside of her house with a strong perfume, heavy makeup, and she passed by a group of men, as if she is an adulteress, as if she is involved in adultery. It was not her intention, but because of what she has done. The hadith says, this is so dangerous for ladies. Why? Because beautification should be at home for your husband. How come at home you see women same like the man? You don't differentiate between a man and a woman. Wearing dirty clothes, busy with the housework, washing dishes, clean the house. She has no time to beautify herself. This is not an Islamic way of how to deal with husband and wife. So beautification should be at home for your husband. When you go out, beautify yourself, but to the minimum wage, minimum level and minimum way. Okay, this is number one. Number two, why cosmetic blood surgery is not allowed in Islam? It entails deception. You are cheating others. This is not the way how you look like. This is not the way how Allah has created you. You are only beautifying yourself to deceive others. You are 45, 50, 60, but you want to look like you are 30 to encourage others, for instance, to marry you. Or you are an old man, 70, but you do this plastic surgery to look like very young. So it entails deception, التضليل, الغش, التدليس. Number 3, cosmetic plasticity in Islam is not allowed because you are changing Allah's creation. Allah gave you this type of nose, this type of appearance. Admire it, acknowledge it, appreciate it. If there is any problem, as we will discuss after a while, reconstructive is allowed. But just to beautify yourself, you change Allah's creation, a'udhu billah, this is not allowed in Islam. The 4th reason, number 4, it entails dissatisfaction with Allah. And this has something to do with your aqidah. You are saying to Allah, I know better than you. I want to be the way I want to be, not the way you have created me. So you are challenging Allah's authority. You are showing your dissatisfaction with your creator. And this has something to do with your belief, a'udhu billah. So you see, now you move from a mere beautification issue to a faith issue. And that is why cosmetic plasticity in Islam should not be permitted. And number 5, it leads to pride and show off. Usually people who undergo plastic surgery for no valid reason, just to enhance their appearance, usually it might be sometimes for a noble purpose, could be, but usually we are talking about how people usually do it and why they do it, is just to show off. Show off. And you are so proud of yourself, of your wealth, of your family status. So you are not happy with your appearance, so you want to change it. The next reason why cosmetic surgery is not allowed in Islam, it is not needed at all. No harm to be removed. Whereas in the reconstructive surgery, you are removing something because that distracts your life, cause harm to you, psychological harm or physical harm. So here there is no harm to be removed. Why are you opting for cosmetic plastic surgery? Why you want to remove your skin, change your color of your skin, your eyes, enlarge your eyes, change the shape of your nose? Why? It is not needed. If there is a problem, yes. But if there is no problem, it is not needed. Why are you doing it? And also one of the reasons is that it is only concentrating on the beautification of the body itself, carnal beauty, not the soul. You are not taking care of your soul. You don't mind your soul is so dirty. You believe in Allah. You don't accept Allah as your creator. You are a Muslim. You believe in Allah as your creator, your sustainer. However, you are not taking care of your soul to beautify your soul. To beautify your soul. Beautify and beautify your soul. You are only concerned with your body. So if the focus, the concentration is only on your body, then, a'udhu billah, you are becoming closer to the hayawanat who have no reason, no aql. They care about nothing but to eat, drink, enjoy life, that's it. So cosmetic is haram because the focus only is on the body. In Islam, we have to focus on both. Beautify your body by, for instance, cleaning yourself all the time, taking shower, put perfume, wear the best that you have, especially when you go to masjid. Unfortunately, nowadays you see the young man, they play football and then they rush to the masjid with smelly socks, dirty clothes. You go to the masjid, the house of Allah, beautify yourself. The time where you meet Allah, so you meet Allah with beautiful clothes, nice smell. So to beautify yourself, and as I have said again and again, is encouraged in Islam. But to focus only on the beautification of your body is not allowed in Islam, while you forget the soul. Okay, so these are some of the reasons. In addition to them, it is also wastage of wealth. You are wasting money. Normally, plastic surgery are very expensive. So the money that is spent on beautifying yourself, why don't you help others who are in need of it? People are starving. People have no food to eat. People have no shelter, no education. And you are beautifying yourself again and again, operation after operation, to enhance your body, to modify, subhanallah. So because you are wasting money, it becomes haram. Okay, now, the other type of it is called reconstructive surgery. What do you mean by it? For instance, there is something that is called abnormality in your body. Abnormal structures of your body. You are born with some defects. Okay? This might be in your face, in any part of your body. So Islam allows us to have these operations to modify the body, to reconstruct it so that we be normal. We live normally with people. We don't feel any, any abnormalities in our existence. Because you might be okay, it is functioning well, the body is functioning well, the organ is okay, but you don't feel comfortable while you are working in the, for instance, company or organization with your colleagues. It creates some psychological effect. So Islam allows us to remove it, to have the operation, to adjust it or to remove it. This is called reconstructive. Okay? It might not harm you, but you don't feel comfortable, or it harms you. You might be born with it. When you are born with these defects. Or you have been normal, but because of car accident, a'udhu billah, God forbid, may Allah protect all of us, you have injuries now. The injuries left, for instance, some organs to be damaged, hand to be cut, or eye to be, a'udhu billah, and anything in your body happen because of accidents, or because of it could be because of burn, fire, for instance, or even in jihad, for instance, you are involved in jihad. So during the war, protecting your religion, your family, your country, something happened to you. So you are allowed in Islam to remove the abnormalities, the thing that happened to your body, you can remove it, no problem. As long as you are not doing it for the sake of beautification or because you want to enhance your appearance. Okay, something wrong to your body, something wrong happened to it before or after. I mean, you are born with it, or you have been normal, and because of accidents, something happened to you, scars, for instance, in your body, you are allowed in Islam to adjust it, to have this reconstructive surgery. Okay? So here we are talking about both impact, the physical impact as well as the psychological impact. You have encountered a psychological pain because of the accident happened to you. So you don't want to be isolated. You cannot say, I cannot go to work because I have this defect in my body, in my eye, my nose, my hand, so let me stay at home. So you are not becoming a productive Muslim. You are harming yourself as well as society, your family, humanity at large. So Islam says you go for the operation, adjust it, because something has inflicted, okay, something happened to your body. So because of the psychological pain that you are facing, or because of the physical pain that you are encountering, Islam allows you to have reconstructive plastic surgery. Okay? Now, why are we talking about surgery if it is done for reconstructive purpose? It is allowed because we are talking about the ayah وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. And the hadith also says necessity dictates exception. Now, when it is a necessity to do something, then you have to do it. But there is no darura, no necessity. It is not needed, like the cosmetic plastic surgery, you don't do it. Okay? Originally, you are not allowed to do anything in your body. You cannot modify the way Allah has created you. It is not your right. But here, something abnormal happened to you. You are born with some defects, or something happened to you later because of accident, because of fire, for instance. So you are only now adjusting something in your body because it's supposed to be this way. Okay? So we call it الضرورة تقدر بقدرها. الضرورات تبيح المحظورات. As the Shaykh already explained to you in the legal maxims. And also, you are now opting for the lesser evil to avoid the greater evil. Committing the lesser, that is to do the operation to reconstruct your body. This is the lesser. The greater is to remain as you are, having the pain, physical pain or psychological pain, not to be a productive person in your society, a productive citizen. This is the greater impact, or what you are going to suffer from, is that you are not going to work, family will have no food to eat, and you're not going to pay the tuition fee for your children, and you are going to be isolated, not to do anything. This is now the greater harm. So in order for you not to commit the greater harm, Islam always allows us to commit a lesser harm. Okay? Now, we move to the other topic quickly. That is called euthanasia or euthanasia. Now, what is euthanasia? Euthanasia is to terminate the life of a person who has been sick, for instance, for so long. So you don't want to continue giving him the medication. You don't want to pay for him all the expenses, staying in the hospital for so long. So you want to have mercy to him or on him. It is called mercy killing. Okay? Mercy killing. So why mercy killing in Islam is not allowed? And is not allowed because it involves, a'udhu billah, the killing of a person. So to kill yourself in Islam is called what? To kill yourself. Suicide. To kill others is called homicide. So neither homicide nor suicide in Islam is permitted. Your body is not yours, so you are not permitted to terminate your life. You can't say, I have been sick for 10 years. I am living on this life support machine, so I don't want it. So you ask the doctors to give you the injection to release you from the pain you are having. Or you are in coma for so long, so your family agree with the doctors to give you the injection, so they kill you peacefully. It is called mercy killing because you are terminating the life of a person with the intention of releasing him from the pain he or she is suffering from. Okay, why it is not allowed in Islam? Because number one, it involves, first and foremost, dissatisfaction with Allah. Allah knows what is good for you. Allah is testing you. If you are sick, Allah is testing you with the sickness you have. If you are healthy and wealthy, Allah is testing you again with the health and wealth you are having. So any act of dissatisfaction in Islam violates your faith. So who are involved in euthanasia or euthanasia? It might be the patient himself or his family or a third party, the hospital, the panel of doctors. So in all cases, it is not allowed in Islam for the reason I have just mentioned. Okay? Because this life is a place for tests. Whether you are tested with your wealth, you are poor or rich, or your intelligence, you are super intelligent, or having less intelligence, or your physical appearance, or your family background. Name them, okay? You should not judge your existence or evaluate your existence based on this material world, or otherwise you are becoming a materialistic person, which is totally against our Islamic worldview, to be a materialistic person. So if the intention is to just kill this person because you have no money to be spent on him, the medication you are giving to him should be utilized for the education of your children, for instance. You might have this opinion. It sounds like convincing opinion. It might sound like a valid justification. Why should I spend money on my mom who is so ill, so old? I stop the medication, I channel it or rechannel it to finance my business, to build a masjid. So these are not valid justifications. She is sick, no matter for how long, spend on her, treat her, give her the needful medication. Allah is the one who gives cure. Allah cures her. But from your part, do whatever that is necessary and needful for her to be in good health. Okay? So it is not your right to terminate your life or terminate the lives of others or engage in any agreement with any party to kill a person with a noble reason. That is to have mercy on him. I don't want him to suffer. I don't like to see my beloved one suffering. So I want to end his suffering by removing the life support machine from him, so he or she will die, or I give him or give her the injection so that he will be released from the pain and die immediately. Or I stop the medication that he was taking or she was taking. So all these are not valid reasons for you to have euthanasia or basic killing. Okay, but there are many types. We have no time to discuss all the types. So active or passive. Active means to give the injection. Give the injection that kills him immediately. Or you remove the life support machine that he depends on, or you stop giving him the medication so he will die immediately. So no matter whether it is active or passive, in Islam, we are not permitted to terminate the life of anyone for any reason. Okay? But now if I ask a question, I think already spent like 30 minutes with you. I don't mind now if you open the floor for discussion, maybe you have questions. But before that, I would like to ask you if anyone would like to answer. If for instance, we have limited life support machines in a very remote area, rural area, where we have only one hospital with many patients that are in need of a life support machine. So how to prioritize, okay, the life support machine? To whom should we give the life support machine? I would like to hear from you, dear participants. if we have few life support machines and we have many patients who are in need of it, so to whom should we give the life support machine first?
Yes, Doctor. Dr. Luqman, I will open for him because he raised the hand. Maybe he want to answer the question.
Dr. Luqman.
Dr. Luqman, yeah, from Brunei.
أهلا وسهلا Prof. تفضل. He should be giving a lecture, not having a discussion or answering question or
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa barakatuh, Doctor. تفضل.
I'm not actually providing answer to the first question, but rather I have a question.
تفضل.
The question is, if you look at our brothers in various parts of the world, we have been carried away with this concept that I'm the owner of my body. I can use my body the way I like. So I can do, cosmetic surgery and what have you. I want you to elaborate more. Are we the owner of our body, really? Can we use our body the way you like? In fact, some people in the West will even say, you own your body, flaunt it the way you like. Use it to have whatever you want in life. Yeah.
Thank you. As I have just mentioned, cosmetic plastic surgery is haram because you are only focusing on the body itself, neglecting the soul, neglecting this spirituality factor or dimension of your existence. As we know in Islam, we are created from both the angel-like nature and the animalistic nature. We are soul and soil. قبضة من طين الأرض ونفخة من روح السماء. So the one who focuses on the body only, he is going to be, a'udhu billah, a materialistic person. He thinks that his body belongs to him, as I've just Dr. Luqman shared with us. They think the body belongs to them, so they are the owners of the body. They want to use it the way they want, the way they want to modify it, rectify it, adjust it the way they want to be. So in Islam, you, yourself, your wealth, your family members, everything you own in this dunya, the real possessor is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anta wa maluka. Kullu hadha al-khalq lillah. So you should be Khalifa of Allah on earth to use it the way Allah wants you to use it. The resources, why are we today having problems? Water scarcity, wealth, because we don't want to share, because we are so stingy and greedy. We are focusing on only ourselves. So if I think my money belongs to me, my body belongs to me, a'udhu billah, I am challenging Allah's authority. So in the Islamic perspective, your body is an amana given to you. The ultimate owner is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Beautify it the way Allah wants. And before focusing on your body, focus on the soul, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to strengthen that relationship with Allah by having the ibadat all the time, by appreciating Allah's bounties on you, having 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 legs. All these are Allah's bounties on you. So when you think it is your body, is up to you, a'udhu billah, you are challenging Allah. As simple as that. So for us Muslims, we believe our bodies, our wealth, whatever we have, the ultimate owner is Allah, not us. We are only given the amana, the task to utilize it, to use it, but to misuse and abuse is not your right. Thank you, Doctor, for asking this question. Thank you. Now,
thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Muhammad Ali Zaroum, for the class today. MashaAllah, very interesting. And there is many questions. There is raised the hand, so many, but then the time is so limitation. And then we already extra time for 6 minutes. And then inshallah, Dr. Zaiti, you can get extra time after this, because we have, after you, we have break, and then you can take the time for extra. And thank you, Doctor, for today's session. and we cannot allow them to ask anymore because the time already up.
Yeah, but inshallah, sister, for the next class, we might start with answering this question because I have asked them a question. So since they are not given the chance to try to or attempt to answer it, I would like next time to start by giving them maybe 2-3 minutes to share with us if they have any answer. If we have limited life support machine in a very remote area, in one hospital, so how to prioritize, to whom should we give the life support machine? So this would be your homework for next week, inshallah. Before we start a new topic, I would like you to answer this question. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikumussalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Doctor, for today's session, and may Allah grant you Jannah. Ameen. And Dr. Akhtarzaite, you are here?
Yes, I'm here. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Sorry, doctor, for taking your time, but then you can get extra because we have after that a break for 30 minutes. Then you can take that time for the extra time. And today, inshallah, we will meet with Dr. Akhtarzaite on the title Banking and Financial Market. Falyatafaddal ma'jurah, doctor.
My slide is here.
Yeah.
Let's try to have a slideshow. I did slideshow, but
yes, doctor, moving.
Okay, right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you very much, sister, moderator, and all participants. Alhamdulillah, we now in the week 2 of our program. So I will continue from where I stopped last time. So some background of what we did before. Last week we have some kind of introduction to banking and financial market. We introduced what are the functions of Islamic banking and underlying principles, right? Which underlies all the products and services of Islamic banking. So for week 2, we are going to look into specifically Islamic deposits and investment accounts, right? As one of the functions of Islamic banking. As we know that banking itself, whether it's Islamic or conventional, they are the financial intermediary between those who have the surplus and they want to invest their surplus and those who in deficit unit or those who need the funds, right? So the bank in the middle. So one of the functions or the main functions of Islamic of banks is to mobilize fund in the form of deposits and investment accounts. So this is the focus for today. Week 3 will be other topics, inshallah, as we go, progressively throughout the weeks. So for Islamic deposits and investment accounts, I divide into 3 segments. A little bit on the background, right, on Islamic deposit and investment account. And we zoom to what are the Islamic contract use. As we know that during the last session, for all products of Islamic finance, not only Islamic banking, Islamic finance, meaning in the banking sector, in the capital market sector, in the takaful sector, we will always use certain contract, permissible contract, in order to offer our product, right? So it is a contract based, right? All products of Islamic finance, they are contract based. So this contract actually the one who determine the rights and liabilities of all the parties involved, the bank and the customers, right? So same thing also for Islamic deposit investment account. We need certain contract which underlies the product itself. For the conventional, they don't need contract. You receive the fund, you receive the fund, the bank receive the fund, the bank pay interest, no problem. But for us, for Islamic banking, we need certain contract which give the rights to the parties, so certain right, and give rights to certain parties, certain liabilities. So we look into what are actually the contract used currently in offering the Islamic deposits and investment accounts. And then if we have the time, we will discuss some selected issues or what actually issues surrounding Islamic deposit investment account. So that is the content for today. Okay, for the background, accepting deposit is one of the main business of the bank. One is to accept deposit, and second is to give financing, right? Because banks are financial intermediary, so they receive the funds from the public, and the deposits are the cheapest source of fund for the bank. And because bank, they have many sources of fund, the cheapest, the easiest, and the most common for the bank is to receive the deposit. So bank is the only institutions in the country who legally given the rights to collect deposits from the public. So it has significant impact on the bank's ability to generate assets, particularly by providing financing. Meaning to say that as financial intermediary, the deposit received by the of the bank to give financing. The more the bank able to mobilize funds through deposits, the more capable the bank to give financing on the other side of the bank's function, right? So it is very significant. So therefore, we will see that banks usually they have campaigns for deposits, right? In order to enhance their deposits. When banks receive deposits from individuals and business, it is recorded as a liability. So the deposit side is the liability side of the bank's balance sheet, because this money has to be given back to depositor, sometimes with interest. Right? So deposits are the most significant liability a bank has, whereby on the financing side, this is considered as the asset side of the bank, because the bank is going to collect the payment, receivables, and also with interest from the one who received the financing from the bank. So for the deposits, they are considered as the liability on the bank. Okay, so these are actually the common types of bank accounts, right? So I discussed this generally. It is the same for conventional as well as Islamic, right? So all the banks, basically, they will have this type of bank accounts, right? Basically, the first one is the current account. We have the saving account and the term deposit. I think you are familiar with these terms, because when dealing with the bank, of course, each of one of us, at least having one of these three deposit or types of accounts, right? We go first to the current account, an account where money can be deposited and withdrawn whenever you want using a checkbook, ATM card, and other methods, right? So this is the first account whereby you can deposit your money, and you can withdraw the money as you wish, when you wish, right? So the bank cannot have the right to prevent you from withdrawing the money, right? And the very purpose of current account is just to put the money temporarily for the purpose of making payments to the third party, right? So this is the purpose of current account. For saving account, a little bit different from current account. Same thing also, that allows deposits and withdrawals at any time. But for saving account, usually bank will also give some interest, very low interest compared to the third one, right? So because the purpose is to save the money, to keep the money for future usage, for example, right? But for current account, this is for daily usage, right? Particularly now, usually our current account is tagged to the debit card, because you are going to use from now and then the debit card to make purchases, right? The third one is term deposit. So term deposit is the most important type of the account for the bank. It is a fixed term investment, right? It is a fixed term. For current and saving, better known, if it combine both, better known as CASA, right? Current and saving known as CASA. CASA it is not for a certain period of time. So you can take or you can withdraw at any time. But for term deposit, there are certain time limit or tenure. right? Whereby you cannot withdraw your money within this tenure, right? Basically, right? So it is fixed term investment, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, for example. That includes the deposit of money into an account with a fixed guaranteed return, right? So for term deposit, they have, conventionally, of course, they will have a fixed guaranteed return, right? So the guarantee of the amount, the principal amount, as well as the profit for the term deposit, in case of the conventional, they are guaranteed, right? So this is basically to know the DNA or know the nature of what are these accounts is actually before we go to what will happen in the Islamic, right? So because depositors, when they deposit their money, particularly in term deposit, they are expecting certain return, right? So no one will put the money for investment without the possibility of earning some of the income, because the purpose of the term deposit itself is for investment purposes. Right? So this is what when we begin with Islamic banking in Malaysia, I'm talking on behalf of Malaysia. In Malaysia, when at the beginning, we did not differentiate, in terms of the categorization between these three accounts, right? We have all these three types of account offered by the banks, by the Islamic banks, but of course underlies by certain permissible contracts, right, as we will see later on, right? Later on, with the introduction of IFSA. IFSA is Islamic Financial Services Act 2013, introduced in 2013, whereby IFSA make clear definition of what is deposit and what is investment, right? So previously we don't make clear demarcation or clear separation between deposit and investment account, right? But by having IFSA, now we have a clear definition of what constitute deposit and what constitute investment account. So we go first to the Islamic deposits. It means the sum of money accepted or paid in advance with Sharia, right? Of course, paid to the bank in our case, on term under which it will be repaid in full, right? Meaning the words will be repaid in full, you can withdraw in full, meaning to say also it is capital protected, right? With or without any gains. It can be with return, it can be also without returns, depending on the contract use, right? Return or any other consideration in money or money's worth, either on demand or at a time or in circumstances agreed by or on behalf of the person making the payment and person accepting it, right? Person accepting it in our case is the bank, right? So this is what we mean by Islamic deposits. Under an arrangement on terms whereby the proceeds under the arrangement to be paid the person paying the sum, the depositor, shall not be less than such sum of money. If you deposit your money 1,000, the bank must return 1,000. Shall not be less than such sum of money, meaning capital guaranteed, right? The principal guaranteed, right? For Islamic deposits. Whereby investment account means account under which money is paid and for the purpose of investment. So the account use that there is no express on it because it is based on investment, right? For investment, maybe sometimes you gain the profit, maybe you lose the money, right? So for investment account, by very definition, there is no express or implied obligation to repay the money in full. The bank did not guarantee the principal or it is not capital protected. And either only the profit or both the profit or losses thereon shall be shared between the person paying the money and the person accepting the money. All right. So for the profit, in the event of the investment, bearing some profit, or even both profit and losses, as the case may be, shall be shared between the person. Shared between the person paying the money, meaning the depositors, the one who opened the account, and the person accepting the money. In our case, the bank, right? It can be with or without any return, right? There is a possibility that there will be return, and there's also a possibility that will be with return, right? So that is the definition of deposit and investment account under IFSA, whereby Islamically that will cater for the application of certain suitable contract in order to fulfill the requirements of both, right? So for the deposits, for example, right, particularly the CASA, right, it will involve certain contract which did not provide the capital grant, which provide the capital guarantee, but there is no promise of return, right? But for investment account, the certain contract use must allow for the investment of the money without giving the promise of the capital protection, right? So you invest with the possibility of having profit or loss. So there's certain contract which will govern this, right, accordingly. Okay, so now we come to the second one. So then what is the Sharia contract use? All right, previously, the current account, saving account, the CASA, right, under the CASA, there are few possible contracts. And at the beginning, there's still discussion of whether it is called or it is wadi'ah. Right? I think we have a specific session to discuss the contracts in other sessions. So I hope that you understand. We'll have some revision here just to recap what is actually this contract about. For investment account or term deposit previously, right? There's a set of other contracts because this contract has different implications. So in order to how to choose the suitable contract which suit the needs of the parties, right? For example, when we say that under CASA, under deposit, we need the position is, or the nature of CASA is that it is capital protected, right? So we have to use Sharia contract which provide for the capital guarantee. For example, we cannot apply mudharabah here because mudharabah cannot be by guarantee. There is no guarantee under mudharabah, so it is not suitable. So these are the discussion among the scholars. At the end, many inclines towards application of wadi'ah. In fact, application of qard. In fact, the wadi'ah and wadi'ah yadzamanah is actually effectively a qard in nature, right? So it takes all the hukums of qard, as we see. We have also tawarruk. Tawarruk is a bit complicated. We just mentioned here, but I will not explain in detail because it will take time to explain that. We will look into some of the structure as samples only, right? Okay, we go first on qard because that is the most, widely used or applied contract for CASA, for deposit, right? Qard is loan actually, right? A contract of loan between two parties on the basis of social welfare or to fulfill a short-term financial need of the borrower. So this is the concept of qard or loan in Islam, which is totally different from conventional, right? Because qard in Islam allowed, but it is the nature of qard in Islam is what we call the gratuitous contract, right? For ihsan purpose, just to help others, right? So therefore, qard in Islam, when given, you cannot claim more than what you advance, right? If you advance a qard, a loan, 100 ringgit, you cannot charge 110, for example, right? Because that is not helping, right? You are earning or making profit out of the qard, so it is not helping. It is taking advantage out of the needs of other people. So contract of loan is allowed, but cannot with return or with extra payment. The amount of repayment must be equivalent to the amount borrowed. 100, even after 10 years, is still 100, right? You cannot claim more. It is, however, legitimate for a borrower to pay more than the amount borrowed as long as it is not stated or agreed at the point of contract. Say, for example, you give a loan to your friend, 100 ringgit. And when your friend wants to pay, he said, I am paying you 110, right? Without any stipulation in the contract, out of his own wish, then it is allowed. It is also known as hibah, right? Which is also applied basically in the deposits by the bank. When the bank want to give return, a small return to the customer, so the bank will, without any promise, without any indication in the contract, that the bank will give return, right? So if the contract says that the bank will indicatively give 1%, for example, then it is not Sharia compliant if it is under court, right? Court cannot be buy with return. Okay, this is a general requirement for court. It must be interest-free. Borrower is liable for the amount borrowed only. Sale contract is not permissible to be entered alongside contract, alongside court. You enter into court at the same time with the same parties. You enter into a sale, for example, right? This is to avoid a trick whereby the increase in court is actually included in the sale, right? So it is a kind of hilah. So therefore, it cannot attach together, right? Lender may claim actual costs for extending the borrowing. For the cost for extending the borrowing, for example, in relation to the process, paperwork, and mailings, the borrower or the lender can charge, but actual costs only for advancing the loan. Other benefits must not be stipulated upfront. So if you stipulate the kashar or as a conditions, then it will make the court as non-Sharia compliant. So then for deposit, how it is applied? We have the two parties here, depositor and bank, right? Number one, the depositor will deposit the money, open the account, for example, current account, saving account, right? Sorry. The depositor will, sorry, I am out of battery. Okay, sorry. Okay, so when the depositor deposit the money, by court means that the depositor give a loan to the bank, right? Give a loan to the bank, right? Number two, the bank will utilize the money because now the fund belongs to the bank, right? But the bank guarantee the repayment because he's taking a loan, so it is your liability to repay, all right? So the bank will use the money for banking business and the return and have the return, right? And the return also belongs to the bank, and the bank will make the repayment, right? Repayment to the depositor, as request as and when request by the depositor. So here the bank cannot promise the return, but bank can give hibah without any promise. So this is what is actually happening, right? In deposit account based on court. Next, we go to the wadi'ah and wadi'ah yadlamanah. Wadi'ah is actually a classical contract. It is practiced by the Arab people even during the time of the Prophet, right? So it is actually an amanah. For example, when you want to travel, you don't want to bring your property with you, right? So you leave as an amanah your property with your neighbor, for example, right? So this is basically wadi'ah, right? It is a trust, given to other party to safekeep your property, right? So by definition, goods or deposits of money in forms of money kept for safekeeping with another person who is not the owner. Another person to be returned upon request. So some of the scholars at the beginning they said the deposit is actually the nature of wadi'ah, but there's some problem with that wadi'ah. Because under the wadi'ah, being an amanah contract, the one who received the fund cannot use the fund because you are only entrusted to safekeep. You cannot use. But in the case of the bank does not want to safekeep the money. The bank use the money for the financing and whatnot. So wadi'ah in the classical nature, in the fiqh nature, does not fit into the application of deposit in Islamic bank. then they turn into, it is wadi'ah, but wadi'ah yad damanah. And the nature is different. This is a type of wadi'ah which entails daman, which entails the guarantee on the fund. Meaning to say that the bank take the money as wadi'ah, but the bank used, and because of the usage, the bank has to guarantee, right? So it is goods or deposit kept for safekeeping with another person who is not the owner. But as the bank use the money, the bank guarantees repayment of the whole amount of deposit or any part thereof outstanding in the accounts of depositors when demanded. All right, but by this one, what wadi'ah yad damanah is actually caught. Right, is actually caught effectively. General requirements for the wadi'ah: asset must not contravene to Sharia. Sharia authority shall decide regarding source of fund. Safekeeper is liable for the amount kept. Safekeeper shall not utilize the goods. So this is wadi'ah. But if the safekeeper use or utilize the fund, then it is considered as caught, as I said just now. Then, therefore, all court requirements shall be observed. For example, no guarantee on dividend, no guarantee of the interest or the hibah. Okay, so this is the application. So by effectively, qard and wadi'ah yad damanah are the same, right? So therefore, I mean, in Malaysia we are agreed. We have agreed on application of qard basically. So this is how it is applied. Depositor and the bank deposit the money as wadi'ah, as amanah yad damanah, and then same thing, the bank will utilize the fund for banking business. They get the return. The return belong to the bank as well, because that is based on qard. I mean, effectively, and repayment of principal and hibah. I mean, voluntarily, without any promise, right? So because it is also qard. I hope this is clear by this diagram to show how it is applied in the operation of the Islamic deposits. Let's we come to the mudarabah, the second for the investment account particularly. Because for mudarabah, it is a kind of partnership contract. It is a kind of investment contract which is without guarantee, right? So it fits into the definition of investment account just now. So mudarabah is actually one of the widely used contract for investment account, right? What is mudarabah? I think, and I hope that you already know in other session what is actually this contract. It is a contract made. It is a kind of partnership, right? Partnership between two or more parties. A contract made between two parties to finance a business venture. So the parties are Rabbul Mal, or the investor, the fund owner, who solely provides the capital. So under mudarabah, there are two parties which have who have clear function. One party provides capital only. He doesn't involve in the investment management. Another party does not provide fund. He only manage the fund, right? So clear demarcation. So if both provide the capital, for example, it is not mudarabah. It becomes musyarakah, right? So for mudarabah, one party provide the capital, another party work on the fund, known as mudarib, right? Or an entrepreneur who solely manage the project. So they agree upfront that this is our venture. All right, you provide the fund, I'll provide the works or the management of the fund. I will invest the fund. If some profit, the profit will be divided between us on certain ratio, right? Not in actual amount, but the agreement must stipulate upfront that if in the case of occurrence of profit, right? If some profit realized, this profit will be divided according to the ratio. For example, 50-50. For example, even some of the cases 99-1, right? But if the parties agree, then it's okay, right? But the important is that there's certain ratio of profit divisions among the two parties, right? If the venture is profitable, the profit will be distributed based on a pre-agreed. It must be agreed upfront ratio, right? Or percentage. But if the business is a loss, right? But if the business is a loss, it will be borne solely by the provider of the capital. So under Mudharabah, there is no capital guarantee, right? There is no capital guarantee. So the capital provider will bear the loss alone, whereby the project manager or the mudarib will lose his effort. He will not get anything, right? From the effort he spent in order to do the business. Unless if the loss is because of his negligence, then he has to doman, he has to guarantee. But the basic principles of Mudharabah, the mudarib cannot guarantee, right? So the majority of the scholars says if there is some guarantee, then it makes the or entails the Mudharabah as void and not valid, right? So the Mudharabah, there is Mudharabah being a trust contract. The mudarib is entrusted with the fund, so it is not, he will not guarantee unless there is certain mistake or certain negligence on his part, right? So that is mudarabah, and when looking into the nature, it fits into the definition of investment account just now. So therefore that's why mudarabah can be applied for investment account. So this is to show the structure, right? The customer or the account holder, right? The customer or the account holder with the bank agree to form a mudarabah venture, mudarabah partnership, whereby the customer or the account holder will be the capital provider, the Rabbul Man, and the bank will be the entrepreneur or the one who will work on the money. Right? Number two, they will deposit the capital to the bank because they enter into mudarabah, agree to give the capital in the form of the deposit. Deposit will open to transfer the amount to the bank as the mudarib, right? So then the bank, as usual, will utilize the fund, right? And they get the return, right? The return to the bank will be shared with the customer, right? So in this way, the return earned by the customer is by way of mudarabah, which is permissible, not merely based on qard, like in the based on loan or just a mere giving money and earning interest, as like under the conventional. So here the profit earned by the customer is because of his eligibility to have the profit, right? The profit out of the mudarabah venture. So that is in case of in the case of profit. Profit in case of profit, but in the case of loss, then the customer will bear the loss, right? Okay, so that is the application of mudarabah. As we go to the wakalah bil istismar, another important or another structure which is used for the investment account. So wakalah is actually agency, right? Agency contract to appoint somebody to work on behalf of us, right? So a contract which gives the power to a person to nominate another person to act on his behalf, right? An agent, and the one who nominate is the principal. The one who accept the appointment is the agent, right? As long as he is alive based on the agreed terms and conditions. Meanwhile, wakalah bil istismar is a specific type of wakalah. It is a wakalah to do the investment, right? It refers to an investment agency contract where the investor or the principal or the account holder appoints an agent, the bank, right, to undertake investment activities on behalf of the principal. It can be for a fee, it can be without fee, right? It can be with fee. Wakalah can be with fee or without fee, as agreed between the parties. Usually in business activities, it is with fee. The agent acts in two capacities: as agent in accepting capital from the principal who plans to invest, and as investment manager, right? So as agent to accept the fund, right? Accept the fund from the account holders and to manage the investment itself, right? In carrying out the Sharia compliant investment activities as agreed by the parties. The agent cannot guarantee, again, the same like mudarabah also, the agent cannot guarantee the profit expected from the investment, right? So this is also the element of non-capital guarantee or principal protection under the wakalah structure as well, which also fit into the definition of investment account just now, because it does not give price to any guarantee. The bank cannot guarantee that, say for example, the bank guarantee that this investment after 3 months will get 5%. Cannot, right? So because that is the element of guarantee, right? So there is no guarantee, the capital guarantee, no profit guarantee, of course, right? Of course, there is no profit guarantee because even the capital itself is not guaranteed, right? So that is the definition of this contract and why it is suitable for application under investment account. The general requirement, principal, must be in capacity of delegating subject matter to agent. He must have capacity to transact, right? To transfer the fund to the bank, for example, right? His own money, for instance, right? The task is something that can be done on behalf, right? Of course, investment is something which can be entrusted to other party to be performed. Agent indemnify asset if applicable upon misconduct only. The agent must indemnify in the case of misconduct or negligence only. In normal cases, the agent cannot indemnify. The bank cannot guarantee. Right? Agent must observe conditions set by principal. Right? If the agent, if the principal said invest in this field only, right? Or invest in Malaysia only. So that condition must be fulfilled by the agent. Agent must act in the interest of principal because the agent is an amin. It is based on trust, right? So it must work for the interest of the capital of the principal as if it is his own money. This is some the structure, right? Number one, muwakil here is the bank. The muwakil is the owner of the fund, right? Wakil is the bank agent. Wakil means agent is the bank, right? Appoint banks via agreement. So the muwakil appoint banks within an agreement as an agent for investment. Number two, the bank agree to become a wakil. Number three, the muwakil or the capital owner will provide funds for investment and investment instruction, right? So that is at the initial stage, right? Then, if there is some wakalah fee, then the wakalah fee will be deducted. Fee become an income for the bank, right? So here is the difference between the wakalah bisnismal structure and mudharabah, right? Under mudharabah, the income to the mudharib when there is some profit, right? But for wakalah, you can charge fee upfront, right? You can agree upon a certain fee, right, to be paid to the bank, right? Then the fund are invested for a period of time according to the period agreed, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, right? Whether it is general specific investment or financing, right? So then the fund mature with total realized profits. So at the end of the period, for example, the certain profit realized, right? The profit will be divided according to the agreed profit ratio, and then by the end the agreement expires, right? So the bank will return the fund to the account holder with the return according to the ratio agreed, right? Maybe here number 9, they can also agree on the excess profit retained by the bank as an incentive for the bank. Say for example, okay, our agreement is that the ratio is 80 for the customer, 20 for the bank, right? But if the bank managed to realize certain amount of profit, right? So for example, the expected is 10%, for instance, but the bank managed to realize 12%, right? So the parties agreed that the account holder will only take 10%, the remaining will be retained by the bank as an incentive. That is also allowed, right? Subject to the agreement between the two parties. Okay, so we have finished with all the structure, right? Now we come to selected issues, all right? Basically, firstly, we have the issue of whether the bank can give hibah, right, under the deposits, right? So as we discussed just now, the bank can give hibah. That is what we observe in your account. For example, you have sometimes you have hibah paid by the bank, some minimum amount in your account. So that is, even though it is based on COR, the bank out of bank's initiative without any promise can give the hibah, but cannot be promised, right? It cannot, for example, upon the opening of the account, the bank said that you will get 2-3% profit. That will not be able to be done under the Islamic deposits, right? We come to another issue, which is the question of whether a bank can accept deposit or investment from non-compliant source. For example, for a company, for instance, come to the bank to open an account, right? Or even a person come to open an account, right? And the person is working at non-compliant company, for example, right? So can the Islamic bank accept this deposit, or can the Islamic bank accept this fund for investment, right? So the fatwa says that in Malaysia, the Bank Negara says that there is no obligation for the bank to investigate what is this or what are the sources of fund, right? So it is the bank can accept the deposits, all right, at the face value without having to investigate into the sources of the fund, right? Unless that it is very glaring. For example, the customer come with a check, all right, with betting check. First prize winner for the Magnum, for instance, right? So that is clear. Maybe the bank need to decline, right? But if the opening or the deposit is through the ATM, for instance, that cannot be traceable, and it is not an obligation of the bank also to investigate, right? It is different from financing. Financing, the bank need to screen, right? Screen the company, especially what is the activities of the company in order to be financed, right? So for deposits, there is no obligation for the bank to investigate the source of fund, right? I think I come to the end of the presentation. Sorry. I pass back to the moderator for Q&A.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor, for the session. Very interesting. Then there is comment that Dr. class will more and more interesting. So I thought they have question. We can open for 2 questions only, Doctor. Then we have a little bit break. I think in the chat box they have question, Doctor.
Okay. Is it the one? How about Qadr Hassan, right? Is it the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Qadr Hassan contract.
All right. Qadr Hassan is called actually, right? Previously, we used the term Qadr Hassan to differentiate with the qard with interest. So Qadr Hassan is actually basically qard in a fiqh book, whereby it is not with interest, right? So that's why it is just to indicate that it is for the purpose of helping, right? Hassan, as you know, that it is good, so it is called for the good purpose, not for profiteering, not for gaining profit. I think there's no difference with qard and the only terminology used. But in Malaysia, we agree on the terms qard only. In the resolution by negara, they don't use the word Qadr Hassan anymore. The word qard will be used rather.
Okay, and then there's one more question, Doctor, in the chat box gets left.
Okay.
How does
Tawarruk
tawarruk
contract apply to investment account? Because loss is not shared by the bank. The element of loss sharing is not a requirement actually. In the investment account, it does not application of tawarruk actually. Yes, by applying tawarruk, you indirectly grantee, but this is not by direct grantee, right? So it is not a loss. Loss will not occur because you do a sale contract, right? Because we don't have the opportunity to discuss further on tawarruk, right? But I can just explain in a simple term how does it work, right? Under an investment account, for instance, we take investment account, for instance, right? So say for instance, the customer open an investment account on the tawarruk basis, 1,000, for instance, just for the sake of example, right? So this 1,000, right, will be given to the bank to invest, right? And it happened that they will invest on tawarruk basis. They agreed that the investment will be by buying and selling of commodity, right? So the bank will use that money to buy certain commodity, right? Certain commodity, for example, crude palm oil, right? Palm oil, right? So the bank will, on behalf of the customer, will buy that crude palm oil price 1,000. So now this crude palm oil belongs to the customer because the bank is buying on behalf of the customer. So wakalah element exists, right? So now after that, the customer will sell the same crude palm oil to the bank with a murabahah, with some profit, right? So the buy at 1,000, for instance, then the customer will sell to the bank at 1,100. So the customer earn 100. But the payment will be after 3 months, according to the terms of the contract. So the bank will pay the full amount after 3 months. So now the bank owns the crude palm oil. The bank will sell back to the broker at 1,000, right? And get the 1,000 for investment purposes for the bank, right? So here, the element of guarantee is not provided directly, but the guarantee happened because of this direct buy and sell, right? So that's how the contract of tawarruk is used, right? Because it doesn't have the element of guarantee, but the guarantee, because it is a buying and selling, right? But the guarantee comes by the virtue of having the buying and selling. With certain payment, with certain price agreed between the parties. Okay. Is it right to treat a wadi'ah contract as a card since the bank basically guarantee the funds? Yes, because under card as well, the bank guarantee the fund. Because when you take a card from your friend, you take the card from your friends, 100 ringgit, right? So you need to pay the 100 ringgit, say for example, as agreed after 1 month, right? After 1 month, you need to repay the card to your friend, meaning you guarantee, right? So under card, the payment is guaranteed. When you say wadi'ah is effectively like card, so the element of guarantee in wadi'ah also exists. Your explanation on tower is more suitable to FDI, not investment account. Oh, really? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for your explanation.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
They have a question. I think if we are leaving the time, there will more question, but then we cannot.
We have more time, right? 5 minutes more, isn't it?
Now it's 40 already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we should stop by 10:30, sorry.
10:30 because doctor can get extra time. So
Okay,
now
okay.
already get
No
the
problem.
extra time already. And
Thank
then
you.
if
Thank you
they
for
have
your
question,
Right.
yeah, if they have a question, then inshallah they leave in the chat box, and then in the next class, doctor can also answer the question. And thank you, doctor, for your session today.
Okay.
And very interesting, and may Allah bless you, and hopefully all our participants can benefit from that. And thank you. And we have a break for 20 minutes, and then we will come back at 11, inshallah. Have a nice weekend, doctor.
Yes, you too. Yes, you too, sister. For everyone.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum. Apa? Assalamualaikum to all participants. We are waiting for our professor, Haji Besar, but then he have a little bit technical problem. So we will waiting for him just a few minutes. Assalamualaikum to all our participants. We have a little bit problem by Dr. Professor Haji Besar, but then inshallah we will replace with Dr. Haji Shaya'a first. So now we are in contact with Haji Shaya'a. I hope you guys can wait for the while and be patient. Inshallah, we will continue. Please wait a bit here. Assalamualaikum, Dokter. Dr. Shaya'a. You can unmute yourself, Doctor. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Yeah, Doctor.
I make a suggestion.
Yes,
that
yes,
we
Doctor.
proceed lectures. Then Professor Dr. Besar could continue after my lectures, just to save time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Haji Shaya'a.
Yes, I'm here. I said sit on the lectures because it's only 15 minutes past.
Yes.
Then I can present my lectures, and Professor Dr. Besar can continue after my lectures. What do you think?
Yes, like this, Doctor. If you can, because Dr. Haji Besar, he have problem. So he said you can proceed for today. If you can proceed 2 hours, it's okay. Not 2 hours, like 1 hour and a half, like that. And then we finish until you only.
Yes, if I can proceed through 1.5 hours, 2 hours, then we can break a cup of coffee.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. So for today, inshallah, we will meet with Dr. Haji Shaya'a.
Yes.
And because we have a problem with technical, so Dr. Haji Besar cannot attend with us. And then we will proceed with Dr. on the application of Maqasid al-Syariah in management and hospitality, banking, and finance. And sorry, Doctor, for our problem technical.
No problem.
And then,
I have no problem. The participants' problem waiting so long. Sorry.
Yes. So inshallah, we doesn't waste any more the time because we have wasted time already. So falyatafaddal ma'jurah, Doctor.
Yes, okay. Should I proceed?
Yes,
Okay.
for sure. Thank you, Doctor, for replacing.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, everybody. And very happy to meet all of you again this Saturday. I begin with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Well, I would like to share my lectures of part 2. Yeah, here is part 2 will be this one. Yes, yeah. Okay, this is part 2 of my lectures. Okay, everybody can see?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, I'll make it bigger. Is it everybody can see now?
Yes.
Yeah, then go to begin with part 2. Okay, the part 2. This is part 2. Last week is part 1. Okay, if we could refresh our memory again, what we have learned from part 1 as introduction. We can see that everybody can see here the slide. I couldn't see myself. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
you want it to be smaller or bigger?
Bigger is more better.
Bigger is better. Okay, all right. So for just to refresh our memory, last week lectures, we understand that the world today is a catastrophe in the sense that due to the technological advancement and social disintegration and so on, and we can see that the social problem I have mentioned in this slide, where you can see the trafficking of human trafficking, sex slave, and then due to the social problem of women being raped. For example, in South Africa, every 4 minutes, woman being raped. In America, every 1 hour, 22 women being raped. And the highest rape cases were reported all in Europe. The top 10 all in Europe, and the topmost is Sweden, with 69 women being reported being raped. Over 100,000 population. You mean to say that there is a social problem. And we have discussed that even now, regarding the alcoholism problem, every 10 seconds, one person died due to alcoholism. And this situation is very alarming. And because of the present situation in business, everybody thinking of commercialization, profit, and so on. And that's because of we have discussed last week, because of this concept of secularism being introduced by, I call it a culprit, British writer, George Jacob Holyoake. In 1851, he introduced secularism. He coined the word secularism, and he established a movement of secularism, and now it's widespread all over the world, including the Muslim world. And so we have to do something to save this situation. The world is going for catastrophe, grave catastrophe. And we have mentioned that we are the Muslim. We the Muslim being chosen by God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brought into this world, as has been stated in Surah 3, ayat 110, that the Muslims are brought to this world for mankind. Because of that, we enjoy what is right and what is wrong. And we believe in Allah. That's why when we believe in Allah, we have the standing operating procedures, or guidance, as call it, or in business we call it standing operating procedures, which cannot be changed, direct from Allah, revealed knowledge, that is Quran, and we practice the Sunnah. That is, we have a very important, a big responsibility, every one of us. Okay, so now we go for the second part. We also mentioned about Sharia. What is Sharia? That means we should be able to capitalize Sharia in this form, so that we'll be able to give a direction. As managers, or as leaders, or strategies, we have to understand Sharia in overall, so that we're able to give a direction to where we are going. So I'm not going to explain this chart. We have explained in detail last week, and as I have mentioned earlier, I like these maps. So the reason why I like this map, in my process of integrating work process with Sharia, I use this map because it has some total perspective, and I understand very well the interrelationship with all those meaning, the sources, the classification, and the objective for Sharia. That is Maqasid al-Syariah. So what we have done last week, I think actually just to mention, you have to give idea why I do maps, because I'm using matrix. That is my maps, map, pictures, and metric. I coined this word. I introduced it in 20 to 2015 to the student, because I was born with one eye blind in early years when I was small. So I use pictures and map to study, to capitalize. And so I use this in the process of learning in university, and I use it in the process of my work in industry and so on. So easier understanding, easier integration and so on. You can see that this map actually is from these two books, Sharia and Maqasid al-Syariah, because this is a very long book. If you read, it's a very detailed book, but if you could capitalize in this form, you'll be able to recall what is being written in these two books, and easier for you to proceed on, just to give you an idea, okay? Yes, now the first part of our part one is Sharia management. In this case, I try to make it simple for you. I do not know your background. Some of you may not have a background I did some amendment to the definition of management. You see the definition of management from earlier parts to the earlier industrial part. There are the different type of definition. But the today definition specifically mention the process of planning, organizing, and leading. Okay. I would like to give an emphasis on thinking. Thinking is very important for us to improve things, to give ideas, not only for ourselves, but to our family, our organization, and our nation to improve further. So thinking, if you read the Quran, it always in certain verses, at the end of the verses, they say, Allah mentioned, "Afala tatafakkarun." Have you ever think? "Afala tatafakkarun." Many verses. And then there are the parts of the verses, Allah also mentioned, "Afala ta'qilun." Have you used your brain to think? So thinking is very important, especially in managing ourselves, our nation, and the world. So I will see how thinking could be integrated. I like to see these maps because I will discuss to you later. Yeah. As you know that in the Quran, you already mentioned that in the eyes of Allah, those humans who do not use brain are lowest than animal, isn't it? And Allah is in the eye of Allah, Sumun Bukumun, Alladhi la yaqilun, in the sense that they have the ears are deaf and the dumb, they don't want to talk about it. And most importantly, la yaqilun, in the sense that they don't use the brain to reason. We are worse than animal in the eyes of Allah if we don't use our brain to think. So think is the core of human being. That's why we have special brain. Even animal could think how to live. That's why. But we are the best of living creatures that Allah gave. We can think better than animal. But if we fail to think, then we are the worst creatures in this world. So having this in mind, you see, even Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned an hour of thinking is better than a year of worshipping. If we keep on praying sunnah every year without thinking much to the world and to think how to improve the world and to think that we're being given responsibility in this world to enjoy what is good and to forbid what is wrong, and based on Quran and Sunnah, then I think we are worse in a sense. Okay, I always thought of thinking. We may read a lot of books. I'm sorry to use my pictures because if I use other pictures, it may be copyright. So if I use my own photo, I don't have, there's no problem of copyright. If you use my slide to do it, I have no problem because some of these photos we use, they have the copyright. So my slide, my lectures have no copyright. It belongs to all of you. You can use whatever you want it, and you can see in my YouTube. You can free to use it and free to share with others. Okay, just now I'm talking about thinking. In 2010, when I taught in the College University Islam Selangor, when I taught they call it MBA Muamalat, I put the element of thinking in the process of management. Why? Because, as mentioned earlier, thinking is the core of all in management, in the sense that it provides a set direction. It provides us a direction where we are going. If it is Islamic direction, is a Sharia direction, then we focus on planning toward achieving this direction. And thinking also provides ideas to set structure, what sort of structure that we are going to use in order to be effective. Yeah, and we thought of leading. We use what sort of method to motivate our staff and manpower, inspired for them to work harder. And control. We have ideas to ensure, formulate a form of control to ensure all we have planned, organizing, leading, give result. If there are more improvement have to be made, then we can modify our planning, organizing, leading. That is why I call this process. Okay, and thinking is the most important element. If you do even though in your family for future planning, to develop your family, you must plan, you must think how to plan for your family futures, how to organize your family futures, how to motivate your children, how to control your children. This form is basic, which people being ignored, even running a family, running an organization, running of a nation. If you see that the failures of the business, basically, they are very weak in planning, organizing, leading, control. You're looking into the nation or the failures, the planning, organizing, leading, control. These are very basic elements which we normally ignore, even for our own family. Okay, brothers, sisters, you may ask me, what are we managing it? What are we managing it? Okay, when we talk of management, anything, when we talk management in our family, organization, or our nation, we are talking of resources, human resources. For example, human insan. Well, you can see if your family, you are managing your family human resources. We call it resources in business or in organization. Or we are managing a finance, money is very important for our family, for our nation, and for the world. That's why we have Islamic finance, Islamic human resources, and so on. We also manage time. Time is very important. World is moving forward. And then we've lost our time. We shouldn't lose any single minute of our time to make useful, in the sense that even Allah taking time as important. While us in the Allah take a swear by the token of time. That means time is very important. Okay, in organizing, in management, we are managing time. And the other one is info. Info is a very important data in management or in nation. So that's why we must get information, data, properly information. That is why when somebody give us information or news in the Quran, please check the news whether it's authentic or it's false, because it's very important. Wrong information may lead to destruction. Manipulation of information lead to destruction. That's involved in anything, organization, nation. You can see the information being manipulated by the West to mislead the non-Muslim about our Muslim or Islam. So mean to say they are manipulating information. Therefore, information is a resource that we manage. And the other one is, of course, asset. Asset is important in the sense that we have the asset, physical asset, and that is wealth and so on. So when we ask what do you manage, we are managing resources, human, finance, time, info, and asset. You see, that means we plan, you talk of activities of management, thinking, planning, organizing, leading, and control. That means if we took one aspect of planning, we should plan the resources, human, finance, time, info, and asset. You see, if we talk planning. We talk organizing. We're organizing human, finance, time, info, and asset. We are talking of leading, motivating. We are talking of motivating elements to enhance humans, enhance our finance, enhance our time, and asset. That is what management is all about. It's very simple, isn't it? So any question in that case? So you can see that this interrelation here before I go to how we're going to integrate this process with Sharia. At this stage, anybody can interrupt me, or since we have much time now, if anybody would like to put something or ask me a question regarding this. Any question before we go to the integration of Sharia with management process? So with these pictures, I think it make it easier. Okay, on the left, we can see the planning and management, thinking, planning, organizing, leading, and control. On the side, we are managing human, finance, time, info, asset, that core resources. See? Okay, anybody? Mr. Abdul Salam Ilyas, because I saw your name here. Any questions before I proceed? Well, excuse me for getting to have a cup of drink. You can have a drink because age is catching on me. I'm sore throat. Okay. Okay. Now we understand what is management. What are we managing it? Okay, now how Sharia could place into this role, because as we have mentioned earlier, all these elements of a process, there is no elements of values, of God values, God fearing. In the earlier discussion, when talk organization, when talk of a country, they always measure success based on money, profitability. You see, do you ever see how the country managed by the talk of money? Measure of money is the element of measuring the success. They talk of the well-being of the people, they talk happiness, and so they talk of religious obligation. They don't talk about this. Okay, in company, basically they don't talk about it. If they have to consider human factors into the organization, into what they're doing, they are putting a little element into it so as to please the others, so that they are committed in that sense. But they are basically talking about profitability. We can see that the company billion, trillion of dollars making money. Individual making million, billion as individual for the money. You can see from this money coming from where? It's coming from the people at large to contribute to the business. So there is a limit to it. Okay, I will tell you what happened today in my what I call it, in my next chapters on economy, how economists, business, they are what I call it, fraud in business that costs billion of dollars to the world, to the customers, to the nation. Okay, this now we're going to integrate this because we have the responsibility of rectifying the situation to make it better. As we mentioned earlier, Sharia or Islamic law or Islamic revealed knowledge basically contain wisdom, principles, and rule. It does not eliminate this process, but it enhances, add values to all this process to be more humanistic, to have a more humanistic society. Okay, now look at this. Why I say that this is important for me to understand this, okay? These charts, these maps, to integrate the management, because this is the human activities, okay? Human activities, you can see the part of human activities. When you integrate all these things to this work process, we must bear in mind that whatever we do to integrate this work process, our term of reference is the Sharia law, which is basically coming from the Quran and Sunnah. And we must, important, this Islamic Sharia is humanistic society, mean to say we must have the elements of aqidah and ethics. You see, ethics and aqidah, ethics of akhlaq, which is normally being ignored. Even you go to Islamic banking, I don't know, I've been to several banks in banking. Of course, Islamic, I have some, not say critical about it, I thought some element that we should increase, because Islamic banking look into haram, what they call interest, which is haram. This is very good. It is better if we put the elements of ethic into it. For example, the aqidah, the code of dress, the behavior, customer relationship in the form of Islam. You see, I went to one institution which I don't want to mention. I just go there. They never mentioned me, even though I've been the regular customer to them. I told them Islamic banking. Tell them, why don't you wish me salam? I say, forgot. No, you must wish salam to all your customers. This is basic. I am the long-term customer. When I want to non-Islamic banking before, and before Islamic bank be introduced, the manager, the customer showed me, oh yeah, Mr. Shai, please come in, because you're our regular customer. Please come in. They give me a special treatment inside the counter, not outside. You see, there's a difference. What I'm trying to say, Islamic banking, the characters here, aqidah here, the what do you call it? The akhlaq, the way we dress, the way we behave, the way we treat the customer is very important element into, even in business. These are basic customer service here. So we should be better. So when we integrate this, and we shouldn't forget this Maqasid al-Syariah, the overriding objective of our business is this. We have other objective, but that is tactical strategy in order to achieve Maqasid asirah strategy, which is ultimate objective. So this must be, so I will explain to you later that how commercial financial development being developed, but Maqasid al-Syariah, I have some reservation. I didn't find that Maqasid al-Syariah being explicitly mentioned in the development. I didn't see that in any documentation, but it should put into the element of financial development. We come to that stage. We just know management, yeah? Okay. So when we integrate this thing, management process, this into, so the result is here. The outcome of integration is here. Become Sharia thinking, Sharia planning, Sharia organizing, Sharia leading as control. I'm giving you the structure of the thinking, the structure of the outcome, the detail. We can work it out because the time is not allowed, because this for understanding to go into detail, it takes time for that like this. So I just give me the structure, but these are the outcome. Yeah, okay. Sharia management. When we talk about Sharia management, when management is fully integrated with Sharia, it's transformed into Sharia management. Okay, this is very simple actually. Yeah, we integrate that. It becomes Sharia thinking, meant to say whatever we think, whatever we want to think, give it ideas. For example, thinking, giving ideas to planning, it should go for Sharia in the sense that planning, Maqasid al-Sharia should integrate in planning, long-term planning. That is Sharia thinking. Everything thinking Sharia. We talk of akhlaq in terms of organization of Sharia organizing here. You should be able to organize the human resource, your infrastructure, make sure that a place for prayer, make sure you have a place for customer to pray. Sometimes in the big bank, I don't see customer to prayer because they'll be waiting so long for certain services. There's no way to a simple room for them to pray. But there's a simple room for discussion, but not simple for prayer. But we are a Muslim, we provide facilities for our customers. Our customers are basically Muslim. I saw that some people just play on the corridor. Yeah, this is not acceptable to me. See, when we're thinking, when we're Sharia thinking here, you see, we're Sharia organizing. And Sharia leading, we should give motivation in the sense that not only to our staff here inside, but also in our customer. And we have some sort of controlling here, how we control the process of management. And these are the element of Sharia, when we transform the whole process of management into Sharia thinking, whereby all the process of management is being enhanced or value add to make it better. You see, so if you talk to the non-Muslim, well, Sharia is basically enhanced value add to what is happened at the management is. You see, for example, we think good because Sharia is basically making enjoining what is good and forbid what is evil. That's basic principle. You see, that is what we are all about. So we add values to it. Planning, for example, we have a long-term planning, Maqasid al-Syariah, as we mentioned earlier, protection of religion, protections of life, protections of mind, protections of offspring, protections of the well. So I mean to say all these are add values to the management, you see. So yeah, we accept that thing, everything, you know. See, all these are resources. Whatever we do here is relating to resources, yeah? Okay? So that is all. That is what I did mention here just now. Maqasid al-Syariah should be here. I will talk that later. Whatever we do here, the objective is this. Overriding objective. This is from the slide from the maps which have been given to you earlier. Okay. Well, this thing is what is a simple definition. I think you understand it. I will simplify the whole thing. I will summarize the whole thing for you. Okay. If we summarize in words, just in words, right? Islamic management is defined as integrated activities, human activities of thinking, planning, organizing, leading, controlling, interconnected with decision. We have to decide. All this because of decision, this decision making, involving of resources. We mentioned resources, human, financial, information, and physical, like the asset, with the objective of Maqasid al-Syariah by means of an efficient method. This is, I define Islamic management as it is. This is my own definition. Well, so far, nobody comes out with the refinement, you see, and somebody quote on this. Yeah, I was 2010 in my top student Maqasid management MBA in Sharia. Okay, so these are, can you remember this? It's very difficult. If it in your mind, can you have the pictures how to integrate it? Well, make it simple. I make it simple for you and for us. I'll say, these are the metric, okay? Very simple. These are activities. These are resources, right? You can see financial, human, financial, time, information, and physical, all right? Take this first one is top. You're talking of thinking. You are thinking, Islamic thinking, in the way of how to enhance humans being, enhance humans in terms of his relationship with human being, a relationship with Allah, to be taqwa and so on. And financially, we talk of thinking it should be halal, non-interest activity. Time is important to lead out data information to keep out fitnah and so on. And physical utilization of asset, you see, we should add the maximum usage, not wala tushrifu, what do you call it? Wasting of physical usage and so on. We can see sometimes I went to some, I do not want to mention, but I'm bit critical when I look around some of the Islamic institution, we're making use of Waqf institution. They have a very luxury physical infrastructure, a lot of wastage in that. When I looked into the non-Muslim company, they are very concerned about the utilization of space, because utilization of space means a lot of money to maintain, air condition, electricity, maintenance of physical. They don't, every square meters, when I study the physical maintaining of the space, is huge, you see. So I don't know, this is my comment. I used to bring it to the attention of the managers. Physical is important, it looks so simple, but if you waste a lot of space, and sometimes I can see a very big space in the mosque is unutilized, that they don't even want to plant some, what do you call, fruit trees around. They plant flowers where they don't maintain at all. So why not put something useful for the, I mean, this is basic thinking, is we have to do it. Anyway, thinking, all this, you keep planning of human resource, physical and so on. So these physical metric, as we call it, yeah, make you simple to understand. Yeah, this is what definition is about. This is what meant for decision. And the other one is when we talk method of using, because sometimes there are tools and method using to do this. But make sure that the tool you use is effective and efficient. Make sure it's effective and efficient. Here, below here. This table telling you everything. That the method of using this effective and efficient. Student ask me, what do you mean by effective and efficient? It's very simple. Effective here means, effective here. It means whatever you do, whatever you manage, you're able to achieve the objective. That is objective. Efficient relating to dollars and cents, time. Where you are inefficient, if the cost is very high, you are very inefficient if the time taken is too long. So there must be balance between cost and time. It's very simple. If I'm going to cycle to Singapore by bicycle, I can achieve objective arriving in Singapore in 10 hours, stop one day in hotel and on the way to Malacca. Yeah, I achieved the objective. I'm effective, but I'm not efficient in using my time and dollars. So more efficient, I just take the express bus direct to Singapore, or take a plane direct, which is money saving, time saving. This is the calculation. So this is what I'm doing here. So this table is good for you as a reference. You are managers, or you are managing your family, you're managing organizing, or you want to change the management of the country, of the organization, and so on. So what I mentioned here, you can see the word Maqasid al-Syariah in my definition. These are Maqasid al-Syariah. I always put the element of Maqasid as an overriding objective in whatever we do. Okay. Okay. And then any question before we go to economic spectrum? Anybody would like to add up, or would like to we can have a couple of minutes. Anybody would like to add up or ask questions? You're most welcome.
Yeah, I will open the floor for them. And if anyone have the question, then you can raise your hand. There's okay. There's in the chat box. Let me check first, Doctor.
Yeah, okay. In the sense that yeah, this is the, what do you call that? This is the charts, yeah. You're going to the second one, in the sense that
there is one question, Doctor, here.
Yeah, what question is that?
So not directing be one of the management activities is thinking, planning, organizing, directing, leading, and controlling.
Yes, directing, yeah?
Yeah.
Directing is one of the management process. You're saying? That's what you're saying? We asked the question. What is that question? Not very clear.
In the chat box, they said that should not directing to be one of the management activities.
Oh, yes. Well, directing is the outcome of the management. If you can look at management, right? This basic management. Look at the chart of management. Look at here. Here. Okay. Yeah. When or the definition. So when we plan, we thinking, we plan, organizing, leading, and then we give direction, isn't it? After we do much thinking, after we do planning, organizing, and so on, we have come up with a blueprint of this organization. So directing will come after all this process. You see? For example, I will not give direction in my work unless I have done some planning. All simple direction is if, for example, someone make a mistake, I give a direction. This is not right. You should go back to what we have planned. You see, that is direction. So if you give direction without proper planning, proper organizing, proper leading and control, the people who receive your direction is blur the way direction is going in actual thing. You see that, okay, you give direction. Make sure that you go to the Maqasid al-Syariah. You do it. may ask, what is the planning of the organization toward this direction? What is the tactical design planning to achieve this? Whom should I follow? So again, this, to me, direction basically is not part of the function of management. It is more of direction. Is more of giving a direction, is leading to leading. I think leading. When you lead a person, you give direction. After you have all these things, you lead them, you motivate them by giving proper direction. Okay, you inspire them. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. One more question from Sulaiman. He will ask directly. I open mute to him. Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, Sulaiman Rabiu.
Yes, Sulaiman Rabiu, please.
Okay, you can open your mic.
Yeah, you can on your mic and then you can say, Mr. Sulaiman, Brother Sulaiman. You don't on your mic, I think.
Yeah. Brother Sulaiman, you can open your mic.
You can mic, yeah. Just click to the end of the mic there.
Anyone want to ask the question more? Because we have time now.
Okay, Sulaiman is on the mic now. She's on the mic now. Yes, Ms. Sulaiman.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
My name is Sulaiman Rabilukum. Actually, I'm from Nigeria.
Yes.
I'm really with this planning management organization that you have teach us. Basically, I have no question, but I really want to ask how we people that we want to visit you there in your location to process processing, how we will be there. That is what made me raise my hand today. But I don't have any question.
Sorry, Mr. Sulaiman, Brother Sulaiman, you are asking how are we going to implement it? How we is it that questions?
From Nigeria, we are from Nigeria. We want to visit you there in your location, and we don't have any access to
we don't have any, we don't have any, sorry,
access to you there unless we meet here in online.
I'm not quite clear if I could understand to you. If we could summarize the question is that how are we going to implement it? Is it in that way?
How do we meet you there? How do we meet you there in your location?
This visitation?
Yes, visitation in your country.
In the country?
Yes, in your country, yes.
Okay. When of management in things, basically you yourself is basically when you are when I start as a young officer, okay, we can always propose this thing, okay, to the top management. Well, another issue, if they don't want to do it, is the second issue. But when you raise to the top, at least you raise to the managerial level or certain managerial level within your department, you can apply it. Okay, even though you're in business, when I am in business, when I took this opportunity to apply it, and I will show you next after this in terms of in hospitality industry, which I'm doing it. So how this thing is being implemented in the sense that how we apply to this direction. And of course, it's very difficult when you to the top, but we have to do. For example, Maqasid al-Syariah as a strategy is something new, you see. And other people are talking Maqasid al-Syariah in the domains of jurisdiction of Islamic law. That means in the development shrub. They don't go beyond that, you see. So now we are talking, I think in myself here, I'm advocating Maqasid al-Syariah as a strategy, because I've been trained as a strategist when my second degree also in strategy. So when I learn strategy, when I look at Maqasid al-Syariah in 2014, when I learned a lot of Maqasid al-Syariah, I see this is a wonderful strategy for mankind, which people are not looking into it, you see. So we should have looked into it. That is why in this stage, I am still advocating Maqasid al-Syariah as a strategy, especially in management strategy. Okay, that is the situation.
Yes, Doctor.
Sorry?
Yes, we also have one more question from
please.
Nur Hassan.
Yes, please.
Doctor, can you please give us more practical example that illustrate the lesson on effectivity and efficiency?
What I understand? Okay.
They want to get more example on practical that illustrate the lesson on effectivity and efficiency.
Okay, now this is just parts 1, yeah? We go into the parts 2, in which we can see that how Sharia is being integrated into other activities. For example, in the economy, and then in terms of hospitality industry, practicality of it, which I was directly involved. Of course, it is nothing to do with the government, but we do it without any government we do it voluntarily, so that acceptable by the industry. Okay, we'll talk in a later state. If you then you see that. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I will open for one last question from our participant here, Adigun Fatai. Okay, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, Mr. Adigun Fatai. Akani, yeah? Any questions you can raise?
Before we proceed, the next, inshallah.
Yes. Yes, Miss Brother Adigun. Can proceed on.
Okay, if he doesn't unmute himself, there is one more question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If
yes. Okay. There are two segments on this society, on the society, ulama and there come bro. Okay. Mukallid to implement Maqasid Sharia in daily life or in any management system. There is need of rich knowledge and of Sharia which laymen don't have. Do the laymen need to approach the ulama for that? And many Sharia scholars don't know.
Yes. Yes, okay. I understand that in the sense that, okay, as I mentioned earlier, that Maqasid al-Sharia in terms of beyond the domains of Sharia jurisprudence, and is less being discussed, especially in terms of management, economy, and so on, especially on basically on strategy, because I nothing mentioned on strategy. The reason behind it, as we know, dichotomy of knowledge, you yourself, I myself, in the sense that we are being trained or being in university or even in workforce They're nothing to do with religion. For example, Sharia are basically focused on what do you call Usuluddin and Sharia and what do you call other aspect of worshipping, popularly worshipping, method of worshipping, the detail going to integration with other human activities is less. You must accept it. For example, in early years, introduction of Islamic finance is not coming from Sharia. In Malaysia, it's coming from Professor Aziz. He produced his papers in one lectures in 1950s that the money that is involved in the Hajj should be taken or other should be utilized in investment relating to all economic activities which is not against Islam. Because of his paper, he's not from Sharia people, he's not from ulama, he's from economists. And then because of that, the Hajj Fund in 1960 was formed. You see, because a lot of millions of money is being kept under the table, under the pillow, because the Muslims don't want interest, you see, so they don't want to keep it. So all this money has been collected under the fund, and the fund become a powerhouse. They invest in all activities which is not contradicting to the Islamic principle. For example, in plantation, in infrastructure, and so on, which does not involve any single interest. So because of that, because of this situation, then form the Islamic banking, bond, and other Islamic finance. I'll tell you in next chapter how expanding to Islamic bond. Okay, so this is the situation. Okay, we don't have to now. Ulama become the advisor of the Council of Islamic Bank. Islamic Bank created or must have in Malaysia that there must be a Council of Islamic Advisor. So those people who graduated from Sharia and they have a secondary maybe very good in other field of economy or business, they be advisor to the Council of Sharia Council in the bank. So that is thing. Because of this situation in 19205, or today, that IIIT is taking effort to integrate this knowledge, the tool dichotomy of knowledge, Islamic and non-Islamic, into one. That's what we're talking about today. Yeah, you can see not many books written on Islamic management, not little book on talking of Maqasid al-Syariah applied to other human activities rather than worshipping and what do you call Fiqh, ibadah. You see, so Maqasid al-Syariah has to be now. Is to be. We understand that. I understand your question. That is good question. That question lead to us to act accordingly. And you yourself understand this. Good for you for Sharia. Understand management, so you understand that you can work together and proceed on this direction. Okay, so I will discuss the detail in other component, which specifically on Islamic finance. You can see that maybe we enlighten you on Islamic finance, how Sharia could be integrated into that. All right, so we go into this, brothers and sisters. Just now we stop here. Yeah, we stop here. All right. Discuss what is economy. Now we talk before we go to finance, we talk economic spectre, integration, economy, so Sharia. Okay. This is giving you direction. Because to give you detailed example, later parts I'll give example how this can be carried out in practicality. But this is to give you an idea, direction in which you can do. Because it's something new, integration of knowledge, integration. They give you an idea, give us. I am also in this area, try to do, and in IIIT also trying very hard to integrate the knowledge process of knowledge with other activities, for example, finance, economy, management, and so on. That is called integration. They're doing it in the hope that in the future, from you yourself, understanding these areas could proceed on this effort. Okay. Just give an example before. I give you an example of the situation of the world so that we have the important role to play. Yeah. Last example, I gave you the grave catastrophe of the world. Now let us go very specific into the economy. Look at this, commercial fraud. Just giving you an example of commercial fraud. This is widely being practiced in everywhere of the world. I'm sure in our country, in your country, my country also, no study being carried out in detail. I give you an example, a very advanced country, for example, United Kingdom, UK. They did a study in 2016 by the University of Portsmouth. You see the annual UK fraud losses is 193 billion pounds sterling. How much is that? It's very huge money they lost. You see, private fraud, 144 million, public sector fraud. This is fraud in the public sector. What I mean fraud is evasion of tax, you see. And then you can see in charities and so on, they give money to charities, the money goes certain percent out of this fund. 1.9 billion pounds sterling gone nowhere, you see. Fraud, cheating. And then fraud are committed direct from individuals, meant to say you buy a certain product. The product is not as what is being stated there. The price you're paying, yes, say you're paying $100 US. Actually, it costs $20 US. And then the values of money of $100 is not you are not paying for the values. They cheat you in other form. It's fraud, construction, cutting costs, cutting material costs. That is why construction collapse. See, these are fraud. You repair your cars. You see, you don't check. If I do the checking, honestly, when I get my car, I follow the detail of what they change, the parts. And you found out the part they change is not genuine. You see, this is what fraud means. See, 10 billion pounds selling a year, the customer like us suffered. Not only the other parts of it, the government, the public fund. So this is what's happening in the world today. You see, even in our country, we're still, you yourself experience it. Sometimes you get things that tax evasion in terms of income tax, this is a business here, tax evasion in terms of importing products into the country, export country. I was involved before in the import and export of material under declaration of this business. So this sort of fraud and lost money, $1 billion. This is what's happening today. You see, in even America, USA, the biggest fraud, 320 billion. You can see from this one. Just give you an example. What happened, the real situation. What are we going to do about it? Nothing is being done. So we are the one who have to do it. For example, we create Islamic finance. Now we talk about Islamic system. Okay, this is given an example how other countries, I don't know whether in our country, Brazil, Malaysia, all this thing. This is in Europe. They did study. You see, the money losses. Okay, so because they don't study, what do you call that? This fraud is considered as criminal. It's a personal criminal. Tax evasion is a criminal. This is what the study being said. The cause of tax abuse, tax justice network 2011. It could work here. It is criminal. The second para here. Tax evasion is always a crime. Tax evasion on this scale is not just a personal crime through it. They become both a crime against society and crime against democracy. You see, this is what happened that we need to save the world. But we as customers, our nation is being cheated by the industry. Yeah, but not many highlight this issue. We're talking about corruption or other thing. They divert our attention to that corruption, but they they do not discuss on this fraud evasion, which is very huge, you see. Okay, the core of the economic crisis, this is not, I'm saying, this report of this tax evasion justice saying, the core of the economic crisis is because of fraud, you see. And taking tax evasion is a necessary condition to solve economic crisis, you see. This is basic, and we have to do it as a Muslim. During the Ottoman Empire, you can see that Waqf institution, everything is for the people. I mean, the sectors helping, I have the figures have been studied by them because the time is short. You can see, maybe I can do in the last lectures, or the Waqf institution provide everything for the country during Ottoman Empire. And 1/3 of the budget goes to the people for the running of the state from Waqf institution. I mean, every one of the citizen, the private sector, the individual contribute to the nation. You see, but now, because of commercialization, everybody try to take money of the people in the nation. This is what happened. Corruption is on the area. Maybe people talking too much about it, but I'm trying to highlight the issues of fraud in the industry. Okay, brothers and sisters, you can see that this is a crime against society, tax evasion resulting in economic crisis. And this is what the situation are. And we have to think about it. I'm giving the whole environment because the lectures is short. I'm giving you only the direction here, because direction is important for you to carry it out, the way it goes out. When we talk, you're going to study economic, Islamic economic in other areas, in other classes, economic, there's other classes, they go to detail. I'm giving a strategy for you to apply what you have learned into the real world. For example, if you talk economy, you'll try to look into the whole spectrum of economy. These are the whole spectrum of economy. When we talk economy, what is economy actually? It is based on production, distribution, production of goods, services, distribution of goods, services, and consumption of goods and services, and then development of goods and services, and then management of goods and services. These are basically economic spectrum. You as a manager, or you are what I call as a leader, what area that you want to develop in terms of Sharia? That's right. When we look at production, this production, we have done Islamic finance. We have done halal food consumption, halal product consumption, halal domestic, halal cosmetic, halal goods, consumer good, the leathers and so on, to make sure it is not coming from haram leathers and so on. Halal medicine, these are production. Halal services. Halal services mean what? Halal services, services in terms of medical services, tourism, lifestyle, all this here is product, services and product. When here is distribution and retail. Now we try in Malaysia, we try to have Muslim retail shop, little Muslim halal retail wholesale. Even in Indonesia, they do it. So in this case, in this way, consumption, we make sure the consumption is properly done, in the sense that there shouldn't be any element of wastage in that, any element of exploitation in consumption and development. Development, in terms of development, all these areas should be done according to Islamic and Maqasid al-Syariah. You see, you manage the whole thing. These are, I'm giving you just the ideas, concept, because when we talk strategy, this is the way that when you think of it, then you can do it. We can go ahead, even you have little knowledge. I'm not Sharia element, I'm not educated in Sharia, but when I do, I will talk to you later in hospitality industry. Therefore, we can able to apply it. For example, the The one Professor Aziz is not a Sharia. He is just an economist. But when he thinks that Sharia could do better in economic, he introduced Islamic finance, Islamic investment, and so on. So that is how, because of his idea, because of his what they call suggestion, Islamic bank developed, Islamic insurance developed, Islamic investment developed, Suku Islamic bond developed. You see, just a small little ideas you have, you create it will develop in your lifetime, not in your lifetime, but in after your time maybe. So okay. So I was when we talk of this, I just mentioned here just now, Sharia integrate with this. When you Sharia integrate with this, then you become like this. Sharia production, which I mentioned earlier. You see, what is Sharia production? What is Sharia distribution and so on? All these things will be lead to that Sharia application. Okay. So now another question asking how to apply in their life. So I'm giving you an example of Sharia hospitality industry, that Islamic tourism. It happened in early 2000 when I was managing a hotel, when we are the 5-star hotel, you see, 5-star hotel. Therefore, we tried to apply Sharia compliant into the management of hotel. When we talk of hotel industry, or you always look at the halal food, you say, oh, it is halal food, you know, halal restaurant. Or you're not looking into the totality of the management. What I mentioned earlier, we can look at this chart, in this chart here. You see, it is consisting of aqidah, belief, and all other aspects of regulation, and the source of all these things and objective here. So this has to take into consideration in totality, not only halal foods in the hotel consumption. Yeah, it is also the service, the ethics of the people, and the service in the hotel. There shouldn't be halal, non-halal product being put into that. The service of swimming pool should not be mixed. They should separate swimming pool and so on for women and for men. All these things have to take into consideration. Okay? So these are what is halal hospitality. So it started early in 2010 when we managed the hotel. Then we have a separate swimming pool, but the Hotel Association in Europe, we draw our star, 5-star, we draw it to 4-star because we don't serve alcohol. And then after that, we have a separate swimming pool. Then we draw another star. So lastly, we say that keep your star. Keep your star. We do not want your star. And so it resulted in Islamic quality standard. You see, the bond of Islamic quality standard. This bond Islamic standard in 2012 is very simple. It started earlier 2012 in no office. You can see this ISO. You know ISO, International Standard. How it started? It started from a house of one guy, a chemical engineer, at his home and his family. I think before the war, you see, in America, then in the office in the UK, just home. We started at home without gaming, and we get involved, 2 people to advise us and so on. So we came out with a standard. We call it Islamic quality standard in hotel industry. Detail it out, the physical, the human resource, the characters inside there. And this IQS, in order for us to make sure that it is done or carried out, we have written standard here, IQS. So the inclusive all this, you see, and we have a certificate. Those who want to follow us, we give a certificate. You see, this is practical example of how we work it out. we formulate Islamic quality standard in hotel industry. This is the books we have written, yeah. And then now, presently, it's being widespread. You see, everybody come forward, even from Japan, from Korea. We have representative, and we awarded IQS to the call Indonesia, Philippines, Qatar, Emirates, Turkey, and so on. So in Thailand and so on, we have representative. It grows by itself without any financial support from the government. Just it's international ISO standard quality of which is being used today was created in from the house, you see. So we can do it. We try to introduce a standard. We don't force it. We show that standard is good, and then people, the industry, like to accept it. And we're creating Islamic, what they call that, way of life, in the sense that tourism, Muslim tourism, non-Muslim tourism also, we like to stay in this hotel because the environment is conducive. I did ask one of the Japanese customer in Malaysia, we had a Chinese customer also from China, why you like to stay in this hotel? They don't serve alcohol. One of the hotel is a Japanese hotel. You follow IQS. The Japanese customers still remain, yeah, it's okay. We want to drink alcohol, we go outside. Why should we drink in a hotel? And we can bring our family because we don't drink alcohol among our family. So we can bring our children to stay in the hotel. We want to drink outside. That is okay. And then one hotel in Langkawi, we have azan also. When it comes to azan, to the loudspeaker all around inside the hotel. We asked them. I personally asked in my personal interview, why you don't choose this azan is disturbing you? No. It's very good. It keeps us to remind the times. And he don't shout anywhere. The word we understand is reminding us for God, is it? There's a few Chinese from China say that they're not Muslims. So do not be afraid to serve Islamic Sharia standard to the industry. Do it because our system, as Allah says in the Quran, is not an extremist. We are the very simple, accommodating rules and regulations, which is suitable for all mankind. Yeah. Okay, this is what happened now. I'll just give an example. And then this what you see, this we ordered March 2016. We have a latest one this year. Yeah, this year we have a latest conference. We given more certificate. This hotel all over the world, we give more certificate, and we extend the certification not only to hotel now. We're going for other areas. At that time, we're looking this way. We are looking application not in hotel. We're thinking at the time. We're thinking only. We should go forward to travel agent, restaurant, what I call a recreational center, and so on, to work it out this way beyond hotel industry. Alhamdulillah, we managed to do it. For example, we given the certification to all travel agents in Malaysia. You see, they follow Islamic. And we are given this travel agent, many travel agents now, and also we are giving to the state. To the state, to the state mean we give to the chief minister here. We see that your state propagating the conducive element of Islam as for the tourists. You mean? And we give the certificate. We name the Princess of Aceh and then Terengganu area to this chief minister of the Terengganu receiving an award. We award them. We don't receive an award. We award them. We recognize them from industry, from our own people, because you are doing the right thing. These are the situation of practical example. We don't ask, oh, you do this. No, we are giving the method, standing operating procedures for them to follow. If they want it, they do it good, and we award them. You see? So we are doing now, as we mentioned, things are new and it's going. We started this one in 2012 of this example industry, with the aim of what do you call, achieve the Maqasid al-Syariah objective. And then we do it slowly, and the support from industry, and support from the people, and also support from the IIIT, you see, to do some research and so on. And so that we, alhamdulillah, we manage. We don't wait for the government assistance, but we can do by ourselves. You see, you can see many people think of reformation, but I don't talk of reformation now. We are talk of migration from Jahiliyah into Islamic. Now, as we mentioned, these are in business, in real business. We talk of practical business. They are global value chain all over the world. You see, these are business. We understand these are the business value chain. So where are we going to introduce Islamic here? We have done in lodging here. I mean, hotel, accommodation, all over the world, we've done this. From hotel 5-star, direct to homestay. Now there are other areas we are looking into. We have done it in terms of traveling. Here, we have done, as mentioned, travel agent and so on. We had done Islamic quality standard for travel agent. This Islamic quality standard is the first standard we introduced it to this. Okay. This is what's happening. Now another student has been doing, we engage as a university student to make a study. One student who's doing a master's has come out with the Islamic quality standard for travel agent. That's what we manage. Now for the country, for the tourist attraction and so on. Now we're looking into Islamic quality standard for advertising. The reason behind, we can see that woman is being regarded as commodity to promoter, to what do you call that, to advertise. You can see women in bikinis, in advertisement and so on, and all sorts of things. They are taking one. That's how we are trying to develop Islamic quality standard so that they're able to use it and we issue a certificate on this. Okay, any question on that? This is a particular example which are involved before we go to financial activities. We're going to stop in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Doctor. Now we already reached 12:35 already.
Yes.
Maybe we can stop there, Doctor, and then we only give them for question and answer.
Okay, next, this 2.4 starting our finance, we discuss
in the next class.
Yeah, okay. Any question to ask?
Yeah, there's Hafiz, Hafiz Abdulhamid. He already raised the hand, so I will unmute him. Hafiz, you can unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah.
My question here is, I don't know the Islamic view on a Muslim person working in the bank or any organizations,
yes,
whose income is interest-based, like in treasury bills, in bonds, where they earn interest, and you are working with that organizations. So what is the Islamic view about this kind of situation? Is it halal?
You mean what do you mean by halal here? Can you elaborate? Your last question.
Is it legitimate? Is it legitimate for someone, a Muslim, to work with such an organization?
Yeah.
whose earn interest from income from interest-based investment.
Islamic finance and so on. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I think
this is conventional investment.
Yeah, I think if
where interest is earned.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I think if we look at today's Islamic finance, yeah, there are many non-Muslim companies or banks. I don't know in other areas. Also other areas, for example, you can see that in Malaysia there are how they call it, Hong Leong Islamic Bank, which is owned by Malaysian Chinese, plus I think at that time was Japanese institution. They have branch, they have non-Islamic finance, yeah, Hong Leong Islamic finance, okay. And the other one is, we can see now the chartered bank. They got chartered bank is owned by the Christian, isn't it? In Europe, in UK, it is they have this, what do you call the name, Islamic bank? They call it I can't remember the name. It is Islamic bank. The name it not Islamic bank, but certain word they use it. For example, Hong Kong, how do you call that? It's Hong Kong bank. They also use Islamic bank. You see, so I don't think, in the sense that is to me, they use the, what do you call this, Islamic non-interest banking. When you talk halal and haram, I did not know the source of fund where they got from. You see, I didn't know. That is why you look at my next lectures. I mentioned here, okay, in the book which I've written here. You see, all the Islamic banks, they don't mention explicitly in management of Islamic banking or Maqasid al-Syariah. You say Maqasid al-Syariah, my suggestion in a positive way, should be explicitly mentioned in management of Islamic bank. You see, remember when we talk of Islamic Maqasid al-Syariah, it consisting of aqidah, it consisting of fiqh, akhlaq, it consisting of source of the Quran and so on. So my reservation in my book here, which I've written in 2015, strictly I have the view that the current practice Islamic bank needs to incorporate Sharia, Maqasid into the management strategy to ensure its suitability to serve mankind, yeah, and convention with the requirement of Sharia. Otherwise, the use of the word Islamic should be refined further here, I think. Yeah, it is proposed that the term Islamic bank should be reviewed and should be referred to Islamic bank owned and managed by Muslim. I have the other side of it. Continue, but I didn't put it here. It may be sensitive. I said that for those Islamic bank owned by non-Muslim, it should mention that it is bank without interest. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Because Islam is a word or comprehensive characters of element, as mentioned in Sharia chart just now. It consists of aqidah. The honest must have aqidah. You see, aqidah, belief in Allah, isn't it? Belief in the angel, believe in the Rasulullah, believe in the books, Quran, all the books of Allah, believe in the hereafter, believe in this is what we are. You see, we, to me, am more confined to this, my view here. Because what? Islamics. Allah created Muslims the best. We should lead the world. We should lead the world. You see, we have a certain principle, aqidah, the best in the world. Why should we sacrifice our aqidah? Allah gave us this Islamic bank, Islamic system for us to build our Muslim network. Allah give us haram and halal, especially in food and other usage, is to basically for the betterment of Muslim, so that the build a network of Muslim food industry, medicine industry, medical industry, all this sort of thing. But we are very, what do you call that? We are not, what do you call it? We are so apologetic in a way. We always sacrifice our principle. That's my view.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Maybe this is the last question, Doctor.
Yes, maybe that.
So, brother Muhammad Zubir Awang, can you open your mic? And this is the last question, inshallah, because we already reached 12:35, 43 yes, already.
Yes. Assalamualaikum, Professor and the moderator. Thank you very much for allowing me to ask some question. Actually, Doctor, very interesting presentation. So my question is, I'm from UNISA. Yeah. So when you mention about the practice of Sharia in corporate, in hotel, in hospital. So I found that the obstacle is from the Muslim itself. So sometimes they feel that, oh, if you do this, you are very Islamic, you know. Then we don't need to mention the word Islam, but we need to do it by our practice. But in fact, I think that you are in the right direction when we clearly mention this is the Sharia standard, and you already set up the Sharia standard body, then it will be good practice. But how to face this kind of perception? I mean, you don't need to show this too much Islamic and so on. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. We don't, basically, for example, we don't change the name of the hotel. For example, the hotel could be any hotel. You know, example, one Japanese hotel before, it is Blue Ocean Hotel. We don't change the name. But when we approach, we tell them this is Islamic standard, and we tell them this is good for the Muslim and non-Muslim alike. We ask a question: if you have this standard, look at our standard. The standard is very good. It's a 5-star standard. The only element that we put into it is there's no, what do you call it? No alcohol. Second, they shouldn't having a swimming pool mixed with women. Then the manager Japanese said, oh, it's quite difficult. Very simple. You make it as two times for women. One is for men, one for women, exclusive for women. The time for swimming pool, because to build 2 swimming pools is very expensive. So you can have time. Time for women, you make a swimming pool, it's covered, you know, it's simple covered. We're not going to see from outside. Nobody want, when you want to swim, to be seen from outside. Even ourselves as a man, when you want to be swimming among men, we don't want to be seen from outside with swimming. It is natural inside us. Is the natural inside is the woman. So they agreed, you see. So that's good. And there's one cook who said, it just immediately, the general manager, the Japanese, he went to the kitchen and said that we're going to practice this standard. Okay. Then the cook said, there's one food that we cannot get rid of, what do you call that? Pork inside there. There's only one menu that we cannot get rid of pork. You must have pork. Then he said, cancel the menu. Don't serve the menu in the hotel. You see? Very simple. And then they see that if we put Islam principle in the right perspective, they will accept it. First, why is it Islamic finance accepted all over the world? Why the Islamic bond is accepted all over the world? Why Islamic insurance accepted all over the world? Why Islamic cosmetic accepted the world? You see? Principle, standard, because it is the best values into it. So they accept it. Your reason enough, they will accept. Even in Europe, when they have argument with me, with some of the industry, they accept it. We can give you an example. You see, this one, why is it that London, Luxembourg, Hong Kong, Singapore, try to make their cities a region for Islamic financial centers. Why? Is it? See, because Islamic is the best system. I attended one course, I attended one conference about Islamic food halal. My surprise is that Thailand has the biggest, largest number of what do you call that? Lab testing halal and haram, Islamic. They have the biggest lab in Thailand. That is Thai food, when it accepted by logo halal, accepted all over the world, and they're able to capture the Muslim market. It's non-Muslim country. You see, that is why I say if we put the right perspective, right image, Islam is beauty for all. Islam is rahmatul alamin, rahmat to all mankind. The only thing we are so, I mentioned earlier, we are so apologetic, we're so scared to put Islam the right way. Okay, that's my comment.
Thank you very much, Prof. MashaAllah. If we open the floor for question and answer, maybe until 2 o'clock, it's not finished yet.
Yeah, you are right. I have.
Yeah. But then time is limited.
Yes.
And inshallah, we will see Prof again in the next session, inshallah.
Yes.
And then we have three or four class anymore, right? Yes, because we already finished 2.
Yes.
And then inshallah 4 more extra class. And thank you very much for today, Prof. And very interesting lecture today. And I saw the question in the chat box, so many, but then we cannot answer now. Yes, inshallah, if they have time, next class, maybe Dr. will answer for us, inshallah.
Yes.
Before we end our class, by today, inshallah, we have a recitation dua first, inshallah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Hamdan yuafi ni'mahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wal ikram. Allahumma ij'al jam'ana hadza